Hello, Kingdom brothers and sisters. Thanks for being a part of ReKnew and being invested in what we do. I want to just tell you a little bit about some of the very cool Kingdom things that are happening right now. Part of what I'm doing these days is networking, trying to turn this rising movement that we're seeing around the globe into something that's identifiable, where people are connected with each other and just working with some folks on how to best facilitate this and provide training for the folks and whatever. So a couple of things. One is I recently was talking with Kevin Johnson, a friend of mine who is he plays a major role in a group called Christian Associates. And he's talking about all the cool things that are happening in Europe. There's all these Kingdom communities that are just being birthed throughout Europe. I mean, some really cool things. In Scotland, they're telling about this one guy who just started kind of doing ministry to some of the refugees from Iran who were there. And some of them began to accept Christ and witness to other refugees from Iran. And now they have a church of about 50, 60 Iranians. And they speak, I forget what the language calls, but they have a service in their language, but then they translate it to other folks in Scotland who are now becoming a part of this. And it's just this cool thing that's happening in one of these little towns in Scotland. And this kind of stuff's happening all over the place. So we're talking about putting on a sort of conference to get some of these Kingdom individuals and groups that are all over the place in Europe, and up in Ukraine and even into Russia, and coming together and having kind of a networking conference and provide some training. A lot of these folks are saying we want to turn our houses into house churches. How do we do that? And so we're looking at next summer putting on this conference. We've got some 20,000 folks who download messages from Woodland Hills. We've got all these folks who tap in from Europe at ReKnew. And so if we get the word out, we think they're going to want to come and get together and be part of this network. I also was part of this thing a while back. It was a church planting conference put on by this group called Ecclesia, which is a really awesome tribe of folks. And what was interesting, I did some of the teaching at this church planting conference. What was interesting is, and they said this is the first time they've had that the majority of people there weren't trained in seminaries. They were just lay people who wanted to know how to start a church, and a lot of them wanted to start it out of their home. And a good portion of them were folks who heard about it from Woodland Hills and ReKnew. And so they're just parishioners who are saying, we want to get in the game and become part of that. Lots of cool things are happening. One more thing. At this conference, I met these two guys who are just crazy Kingdom people, just wild. And they were telling me about their ministry. For the last 7 years, they've been working just outside of Philadelphia and just forming these house churches. And folks accept Christ, and then they turn the house into a church, and then they get others to accept Christ, who then go and turn the house into a church. And there's this whole movement that they're sort of birthing out of this. And then some of them feel called to go to different places of the world. They just sent a missionary down to Argentina. I'm so glad that they got on my radar screen and I got on their radar screen. We're now Skyping on a regular basis, sharing notes, asking how can we begin to partner with one another. This is how this movement's going to be formed. It's going to be grassroots. It's going to be informal. This is the seminary of the future. Gone are the days, I think, where people are going to have an MDiv or a PhD before they start a church. If you can open your door, the door of your house, you can start a church. And this is what's happening. It's exciting stuff. Keep us in prayer. Keep us in your hearts and minds. And thanks again for being a part of what we do. It's exciting times in which we live. Bye.